Let's go back. It's 1997, Cairo.
Mm.
For a growing middle class, there's this real sense of confidence, of security. And for a couple like Engineer Hani and his wife, Engineer Nanis, life in Nasr City felt, well, it felt perfect.
It really did. I mean, you have two highly respected professionals. They're doing well financially, raising two young children, Hadil and Anas, in this, lovely, comfortable apartment.
Their whole world was built on a kind of structure, a routine.
Especially Nanis. She was known for it. She was this successful, modern woman, and her life was just built on dependability.
And it was that very dependability, that routine, that was the first sign something was terribly wrong.
Right. So every morning around 8 a.m., Heine leaves for work.
He says goodbye to his wife, his kids, and heads out. And then, like clockwork, Nanis calls her father, Ahmed Fuad.
It was their thing. A quick check-in, just to start the day.
But on this one morning, that call never came.
The father, he tries calling over and over.
And it just rings. Or there's just silence.
And you, listening to this, you have to imagine that feeling. It's not panic, not at first.
No.
It's just that deep, sinking certainty that something isn't right because a habit, a beloved one, has been broken.
By noon, he can't ignore it anymore. The silence is just too loud. Ahmed Fuad gets in his car and drives straight to the apartment in Nasr City.
He gets there. He sees the husband's car is gone, so Hani is at work. He starts knocking.
Loudly. Insistently.
But nothing. He finds the doorman who says, yeah, Hani left hours ago. But he's sure, absolutely sure, that Nanis and the children never came out.
And the commotion, the father's obvious panic, it starts to draw up the neighbors.
They all gather at this locked door. And they all share this awful feeling that the family has to be inside.
So they make the decision, they have to break the door down.
The moment they get inside, everything just stops. All the noise, the shouting, it just ceases.
The scene is, it's pure horror.
Nanis and her little girl, Hadil, are right there on the floor. They're soaked in blood.
Stab wounds. It's brutal and it's obvious.
But the little boy, Anas, he's only 2. He's not there.
The father, just on pure terror and instinct, he starts tearing through the rooms. He's just screaming, "Where is the boy?"
And they find him inside the bedroom wardrobe.
He'd been strangled. There was a scarf wrapped so tightly around his neck.
The normal, comfortable, predictable world of this Cairo neighborhood was just obliterated.
This deep dive is into a case that was so shocking, so violent, that it completely seized an entire nation. This is the 1997 Nasr City Massacre.
So when the investigators arrive, they're walking into an absolute nightmare. But it's also, from a professional standpoint, a paradox.
Why was it such a challenge? What made it so contradictory from the very beginning?
You have to understand the context here.
Yeah.
This wasn't just another crime. It became a massive public opinion case, almost instantly. The late president, Mohammed Hosni Mubarak, was getting personal updates. So the pressure on the security forces was almost unprecedented. They're dealing with public fury, political pressure, and a set of clues that just don't add up.
Okay, so let's break down these contradictions. What's the first one?
The entry. So the father had to physically break down the door, right?
Right.
But the forensics team confirmed very quickly the killer's entry was natural.
Nanis let them in. She knew them.
Exactly. She was found in the kitchen. She was in the middle of preparing tea. This wasn't a surprise home invasion. She was hosting someone. There was a level of trust.
But that completely clashes with the second contradiction, the motive.
It screams robbery. I mean, her gold jewelry, which she wore a lot of, it was all gone. A large amount of cash, gone. Even expensive electronics were taken.
So the motive is clearly theft, but the violence is something else entirely.
That's the paradox, the overkill. Stabbing Nanis and Hadil so many times, strangling a 2-year-old boy, that suggests a crime of passion, of rage, not a cold, calculated robbery.
And that's what stalled everything.
It's what stalled everything. This mix of familiarity, a planned theft of high-value items, and then this explosion of shocking violence. The police had to start with the first circle of trust.
The husband. It's always the husband.
It's always the husband. Engineer Nanis.
But he was cleared quickly.
Very quickly. His alibi was ironclad, he was at work, and everyone, absolutely everyone, confirmed they had an excellent relationship.
So they move on. Neighbors, family, anyone who knew about their wealth.
All dead ends.
Yeah.
Then they get this tip from a friend about an old admirer.
This feels like something out of a movie.
It really does. It was a man Nanis had rejected years ago. And the coincidence was, well, It was unbelievable. He worked abroad, but he just happened to be in Egypt on vacation at that exact time,
And was scheduled to fly out the next day.
the very next day. So, of course, they detain him. They investigate him fully.
But he's also cleared, so the police are just stuck. They're chasing these theories of passion and jealousy, but the physical evidence keeps screaming a different motive.
Precisely. They're running out of leads, and the political clock is ticking. The killers were known to the victim. They were after valuables, but they left no trace.
And this is where the real police work begins, not the obvious stuff, but the small details.
This is where the whole case pivots. The investigators just keep talking to Hani over and over, hoping for one tiny detail he might have forgotten.
And he remembers something.
He remembers something so mundane it almost seems irrelevant. About 15 days before the murders, he'd hired some painters, decorators, to do some minor work in the apartment.
And there was something strange about them.
Yes. Hani recalled that they deliberately left parts of the job unfinished. They told him they'd have to come back to complete it.
Which sounds like they were just engineering a reason to return.
It was exactly that, because they did come back about a week before the crime, but not to paint.
They said they needed to remeasure.
Claimed they'd made a mistake in their calculations. It gave them a legitimate second entry into the apartment, a chance to scout everything.
The layout where the valuables were, Hani's work schedule.
It was pre-crime reconnaissance, plain and simple.
Okay, so now the police have something real. They have descriptions, a narrow group of suspects.
And they make a brilliant strategic move. They don't just focus on the painters themselves. They launch a parallel investigation focused on the stolen goods.
They figured the killers would need to get rid of them fast.
Exactly. They printed up flyers, notices, with detailed descriptions of the stolen electronics, serial numbers, everything. They sent them out to every gold and electronics dealer in the area.
It was a gamble.
A huge gamble. They bet that these weren't professional thieves. They were amateurs who would be stupid enough to try and sell the stuff locally.
And the call comes in.
Almost immediately. An electronics dealer. He says, I have 2 young men here, right now, trying to sell me appliances that match your flyer perfectly.
And what really stood out to the dealer?
How little they knew. They had no idea what the items were actually worth. They were just trying to get rid of them for quick cash.
It was a massive red flag.
The police told the dealer to stall them. Just keep them there. Within minutes, officers arrive and arrest both men.
Mohammed Zakaria Alwan and Syed Zakaria Alwan.
2 of the painters Hani had hired. The stolen appliances in their hands confirmed everything.
And faced with that kind of evidence, they broke.
Immediately, they confessed everything. And they revealed who the true architect of the crime was.
Their cousin?
Their cousin, Mohammed Khurshid, the lead decorator. And this is where the true, brutal motive finally becomes clear.
It wasn't just about the gold she was wearing.
No, that's what caught his eye. But the fatal moment, the moment the plan was truly born, was when Hani asked Nanis to get the deposit money to pay the workers.
Khurshid watched her.
He watched her open a bag full of cash, and in that second, he knew what they had and exactly where they kept it.
And he decided then and there he would rob them. And he was prepared to kill anyone who got in his way.
Their first attempt actually failed because Hani was still at home, so they had to adjust the plan.
Sidi, one of the cousins, he would be the lookout downstairs. His only job was to make sure Hani was gone.
Right. And then Khurshid and Mohammed would go up to the apartment to carry out the attack.
And Nanis just opens the door. She thinks they're there to finish the painting.
She even offers them tea. They ask for a cleaning cloth, and she turns her back, walks into her kitchen to get them refreshments.
For the men who are about to murder her.
Khurshid follows her in and immediately starts suffocating her with his bare hands.
And she begs for her life.
She pleads with them, take everything, take the gold, the money, just leave me and my children alone.
But they ignored her.
Completely. Mohammed joins in with a knife. He stabs her again and again to make sure she's dead. The details they're just horrific. They strip the gold from her body and make sure she was gone.
Then they call the lookout, Sayed, upstairs to help with the robbery.
And their focus turns to the daughter, Hadil. She was just playing nearby. They attack her next, strangle her, stab her.
And there's still one more witness? The baby.
2-year-old Anis. They grab him and they shove him into the wardrobe while they ransack the apartment looking for that bag of cash.
But he starts crying.
Loudly from inside the closet. And they panic. They're afraid the neighbors will hear.
So they open the wardrobe door.
And what happens next is just the cruelest, most heartbreaking detail in this entire story.
The little boy, this terrified 2-year-old.
He jumps out of the closet, and runs straight into the arms of Mohammed Khurshid.
Seeking comfort from the man who had just murdered his mother and his sister.
And Khurshid just takes the child and he strangles him. He uses one of his mother's own scarves to finish the act.
With the confessions, with all the physical evidence, the trial moved at a speed that was almost unheard of.
It was incredibly fast. All three of them, Mohammed Khurshid and his cousins, Mohammed and Syed Alwan, were convicted and sentenced to death.
And if you connect that speed back to the pressure we talked about earlier,
You can see the entire system responding to this massive public drama. The speed wasn't just about the evidence being clear. It was a direct response to a public demand for justice, for a reckoning.
and that demand led to a conclusion that nobody saw coming, a conclusion that defined this case forever.
Because of the intense public interest, because the presidency was following it personally, a presidential order was issued.
The execution of the three men was to be carried out live
Live on the official state television station, Egyptian Channel 1.
for the entire country to see.
Think about that. This wasn't a quiet, private execution. This was a public spectacle, a televised reckoning. It was meant to show the absolute power of the state and to serve as the ultimate deterrent.
It says so much about the level of societal shock, the feeling that something so extreme was necessary to restore a sense of order, a sense of safety.
And it leaves a really powerful question for you, the listener, to think about. What is that decision to broadcast an execution live tell us about the role of the media and public opinion in these huge, high-profile capital crimes? And what does it say about the ethical lines we're willing to cross when we use televised justice as a deterrent for acts of such calculated, brutal violence?